I recently received a question from a parent that I wanted to share with you because it is a topic that is really important to me personally, and the question is, how can I help my child feel good about themselves? As many of you know, we run a group program for children with additional needs who are in mainstream school between kindergarten and year 2, where we are trying to change the narrative of their lives from someone who needs support for the rest of their lives to being the ones who have the capabilities to help others. One of the key modules in that program is self-concept, and this basically refers to how children perceive themselves. And the reason this is important, particularly for children with additional needs, is that there is often a lot of attention placed on what children can't do because that is where a skill deficit exists and why they go to therapy in the first place. But over time, children will internalize this, and you can see this in children who have all the fine motor skills and cognitive skills to draw and write, but will refuse to because they don't feel they are able to do it. And one of the most heartbreaking moments for me as a therapist was when I was working with a 4-year-old child many years ago who had a severe speech impediment, and he told his mum, "Me no speak very good." Unfortunately, if there is a deficit in a particular area of development, it goes without saying we do need to address it. However, while it is important to work on the skills that a child needs to develop, it is also incredibly important to look out for skills or traits that your child possesses that particularly stand out in a good way, and double down on this as well. For example, I used to work with a child with severe ADHD, as well as an intellectual disability. Sitting at the table and learning was a challenge for him. Making friends was also a challenge for him because he always wanted to do his own thing. But this also meant that his rate of development was slower than others because he wasn't receiving the opportunities to practice the skills he needed. But what he was really good at was riding a bike. By 5, he was already blasting down dirt tracks on his bike, but he wouldn't be able to express that ability if I didn't point it out to his parents 2 years earlier when I was teaching him to ride his bike, when I noticed he was actually learning a lot quicker than any other child I'd worked with. And the reason why this topic is so important to me is that because a child can always go back to that one space or that one activity in which they know they excel at and they can always feel good about. It also turns out that despite him finding it difficult to make friends, this particular boy had incredibly high emotional intelligence and thrived when someone was upset. In fact, I was shocked to see this particular boy independently work through a range of strategies to help cheer another child up, including some of which were very nuanced and advanced. It's definitely not something many people would see simply because they aren't actively looking out for it and creating opportunities for those skills to be expressed. So just remember to always look out for skills or traits in which your child is naturally strong at and help them foster it. And it will be through their inherent strengths where you can help your child feel good about themselves and help them develop a much more complete perception of themselves. And if this video struck a chord with you and you'd like to discuss this a little bit more, please feel free to reach out. I would love to be able to have that conversation with you.